Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I want to welcome you to First Baptist Church of Decatur and to this great conversation event. My name is David Jordan. I have the honor of being one of the pastors here at First Baptist. And we're always so thankful and thrilled to be able to host events like this that have to do with books. We believe strongly that books should be read and not burned or banned. And so, and that goes for children's books also, especially children's books based on the Bible and about Jesus, the real Jesus, not the made-up one that people talk about some days in wrong ways. So we're thankful to be able to share this very important, safe space that we also today want to be a brave space where truth can be told and eyes can be opened and hearts can be shared and imaginations can be expanded. We're so thankful that you're with us. We do have restrooms to my right and my left down the stairs. We invite you, if you need those facilities, to be able to help yourselves. And again, thank you for being here. We're so also thankful to be partners with the Georgia Center for the Book, and Joe Davich is one of our partners in this great opportunity to be able to expand our understandings of reality and the world through the gift of reading and books. So Joe, thank you for all you do, for the many ways you help our community be enriched. Welcome everyone, and thank you for being here.
Thank you all so very much. Since I told you about the restrooms and the book signing before, I'm going to be very, very brief. It's always a pleasure to do events over here at First Baptist. We do wonderful events over at the Decatur branch of our library system. However, we do top out at about 200 people over there, so there would be people that would be unable to see today's program were it not for the great relationship we've had with First Baptist for over 16 years now. Thank you. And of course, as a center for the book, I would not get to do what I do on a daily basis without the support of a fantastic library system, the DeKalb County Public Library, our director, Allison Weisinger, who's always been very supportive of our efforts. So if you live in DeKalb County and you have not yet managed to sign up for a library card, this would be a lovely time to do it right now, because that just shows how much you support us and what we do. Right now, I would like to introduce, of course, our new CEO for DeKalb County, Madam CEO Lorraine Cochran-Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is, of course, a pleasure to be here with you today. It's always wonderful to be here at First Baptist Church. And let me say, first and foremost, to Pastor Jordan, that you are such a resource. And we're always grateful for you lending your space. And I'm very excited because I stand here today and with great enthusiasm, but I am the proud grandmother of a 3-year-old turning 4. And when I got this invitation, I shuffled things around, so now our Senator Warnock is indebted to signing a book for Dallas in exchange for my presence here today. Now, many of you will never see me speak from notes. Generally, I like speaking from the heart, but today I am responsible for introducing properly 2 very dynamic people, and I want to make sure I get all the high points. But before I do that, I see some great folks in the audience. I always like to acknowledge those who serve alongside me. And of course, I have Mayor Garrett, Patty Garrett from the city of Decatur. We also have Commissioner Lisa Mayer Frank, Commissioner Shakira Johnson from DeKalb County. And I don't think I am missing any other electeds that are here. I'm told Mary Margaret Oliver is here with us. Mary Margaret is one of our state representatives. And thank you for the long, hard fight this year down at the Gold Dome. The fight continues. So, with those statements being said, I also want to take the time to thank the Georgia Center for the Book, also the DeKalb County Public Library, and Allison Weisinger, who does an absolutely fabulous job wherever she may be. And many of the people that are here today, like Joe, who has made today possible for us. So, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the individuals whose work has profoundly shaped the landscape of storytelling and civic consciousness. First, we are joined by a trailblazer whose life is a testament of faith, perseverance, as well as public service. As Georgia's first Black United States Senator elected in 2021, and the senior pastor of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, Senator Raphael Warnock has not only lifted his voice in the Senate chambers, but he has also used his voice to uplift communities across this nation. As a pastor serving in the Senate, and that's a lot to even say. As a pastor who is also serving in the Senate, his work focuses on building the beloved community. Senator Warnock's childhood experiences and his life lessons learned through his father, who was also a pastor, and his mother, who serves as the inspiration for his newest children's book, Put Your Shoes On and Get Ready. Now, how many of you remember the tagline during his campaign? Get up, get dressed, and put your shoes on. Let's give that a round of applause. This book highlights his foundation of activism and service, which is rooted in love, inspired by purpose, and beautifully brought to life through the illustrations of Tamika Grooms, who we are proud to recognize because Tamika should be somewhere in the audience here today. Tamika, are you with us? Okay. Well, also with us is the incomparable Charles Waters. Charles will actually be conducting the conversation here today, or guiding it, and he is a master of verse whose books has helped children across this country navigate some of life's most important conversations. His book, Mascot, was co-written by Tracy Sorrell and received an American Indian Youth Literature Honor and a Jane Addams Children's Honor. Charles co-authored 5 books and with Irene Latham, and co-created 3 anthologies, of which the most recent, For the Win, Poems Celebrating Phenomenal Athletes, will be released in spring of 2026. Charles has dedicated his life to writing stories that matter, poems that teach us to see one another more clearly and to move through the world with more empathy as well as courage. So together, Senator Warnock and Charles Waters represent the power of words, the ability to build bridges. They demonstrate love, teach courage, and change the way we see ourselves and each other. So without further ado, or me saying any more, please join me in welcoming Senator Raphael Warnock and Mr. Charles Waters to the stage. Come on out, gentlemen.
Which side?
Why, hello, everybody. Nice to be here. So, first of all, this was I'd like to thank Little Shop of Stories for everything that they've done. Diane, Justin, Stephanie, Sydney, the whole cast and crew are just class acts. This was a very easy yes, Senator, when they sent me the email. I said, oh, twist my arm, why don't you? Before we get into, Senator's gonna read the book for you. Before we do that, I wanna ask a couple questions. And then after he reads the book, I'll ask a couple more. And then get some questions from the audience, primarily from children. So, what inspired you to write your second children's book, sir?
Wow. Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much. Great to be here once again at First Baptist Church, Decatur. Isn't this a beautiful sanctuary? And I'm grateful to their pastor, David Jordan. Where's the pastor? Grateful. He's like me. He's getting ready to preach tomorrow morning, but he's way in the back. Such a humble guy in the red shirt. That's the pastor. Give him and this congregation a great big round of applause for inviting us. Thank you, sir. It's great to be here again, and I'm grateful to you and the First Church family for having us here. Wonderful to be here with you, Charles. He is a real children's author. I'm just playing one on television. So you should check out his books. So great to be here. What was the question?
The question was, what inspired you to write your second children's book?
Yeah, right. Thank you so much. So I feel incredibly blessed on this Holy Saturday to be here and to get to do something as fun as write children's books. I did not have that on my bingo card, but come to think of it, U.S. Senator was not on my bingo card either. My first children's book is my memoir in miniature for children. And it just tells the story of a kid who grew up in public housing, but who, in spite of being born, I guess, in relative poverty, I feel like I hit the jackpot because I had an incredible father who's now gone on to glory, and I have an incredible mother and a wonderful family. So I tell that story and how it led me into a life of service. This second book is the first in a series of books, and it's about the lessons that I want to pass on to my children. The job that I enjoy the most by far, and I love being the pastor of Ebenezer Church, where I still serve, and still trying to figure out that sermon for tomorrow. I love being Georgia's junior United States Senator. Isn't that a trip? I'm way older than John Ossoff, but he's the senior senator. I'm the junior. And we got elected the same year. There's a story to that. But his O comes before W. So that's why he's the senior senator. Ain't that a trip? No. But he's a great guy. This book is about the lessons I want to teach to my children, because my favorite job by far is Chloe and Caleb's dad. Chloe is 8, Caleb is 6, and this series, we're all in this together. We're in this together. It's just that. I'm really worried about our country. I believe deeply in the American covenant, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. I'm concerned about the ways in which folks are trying to divide us. So even as I work on the adults, I'm trying to get the children to get ready to clean up the mess that we seem to be determined to make. The books in this series, this book is based on one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and it's the feeding of the 5,000. So it's a story that I wrote, but it's inspired by the story of the loaves and the fish, and you'll see how it shows up in a different way in this text.
Excellent. How is this talks about food, both as abundance and food insecurity. What role has food played in your life, bringing people together?
Oh, listen, if you spend any time in a Baptist church, it's a bad place to be on a diet. Because there's bound to be a fellowship meal somewhere. And isn't it interesting, though, for those of us who are Christians and in this book and in my work, I try to highlight the values that emerge from my faith, but I think those values are resonant in all of the great faith traditions. But Jesus taught his most important lessons around the table. When he got ready to teach a lesson about who God thinks is important, it's about a young son who goes away and wastes his living and his inheritance. And when he comes back, what does his dad do? He throws him a big party. There's a table, and he's teaching a lesson. It's about what to do when you're invited to the table. A week before his death, he goes to the home of a leper by the name of Lazarus, and he's sitting at the table. Lazarus is there, and his sister Martha is there, and there's a woman there who pours it all out. And so he's teaching lessons. And many of us, nowadays, everybody's got television in a different room and they're on TikTok. But my parents taught me some of my most important lessons around the table. And so food is incredibly important. If you want to know something about a culture and a people's values, and just look at what happens around the table. Who gets to sit where? In my tradition, when the preacher comes over for Sunday dinner, the preacher always got the biggest piece of chicken. I thought that was so unfair, but my daddy was the pastor, so that's not why I became a preacher, I promise you. But food teaches important lessons. And this book is about food insecurity and a kid who's experiencing it. 1 in 5 children in our country, the wealthiest country on the planet and the wealthiest country in human history. 1 in 5 children is food insecure and doesn't know where their next meal is coming from in the United States of America. And that reflects not a poverty of resources, but a moral courage and moral imagination. And so I try to take that on and begin to talk about that in a way that even children can get.
What children's books did you read as a child, sir, that helped shape you?
Oh, that was a long time ago. I read everything I could get my hands on. As a small kid, I don't know. I remember the Berenstain Bears.
That was mine.
That was yours.
Yeah,
they were
mine.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, good. This is your second collaboration with illustrator extraordinaire Tamika Grooms, following Put Your Shoes On and Get Ready. How has she helped strengthen your books?
She's a wonderful artist. And, I thought she did a great job with my first book, so I asked her to come back for this book. And as you will see, the characters come alive on the page. This whole business of writing a children's book, again, it wasn't on my bingo card, so I'm learning as I go. And as you know well, and others who, in a children's picture book, the words are important. And all of my life, I've been in love with words. And as a pastor, every Sunday, I'm trying to find the right words. As an elected official, I'm trying to find the right words. Words paint pictures. And so I try to use words that paint pictures, but she paints pictures. And those are very important for a children's book. And so you'll enjoy the pictures for sure in this book.
The Leo's Lunchbox.
By the way, Tamika is local. That was the other reason I picked her. She's great. She's right here in Atlanta.
Leo's Lunchbox is the first in the We're in This Together series. Would you be kind enough to discuss the impetus of the series and what its overarching goal is?
Yeah, the goal is just I'm trying to teach the values of community. And so this book and the ones that will follow, it's about kindness, generosity, being magnanimous even when others aren't. It's about forgiveness and a little grace along the way. It's also about possibility.
Yes.
Hope and possibility.
So I think it'd be a good time now to have the senator read from the book, and then after the senator finishes, I'll ask some questions from all of you.
All right.
We'll get that ready. There we go. We get the clicker here.
I see a few kids in the audience. Hello, guys.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to take a risk here. Where are the kids? Where's everybody under 12? Raise your hand. Can we have them come and sit right here?
That's a good idea.
Come on. 12 and under, come and sit right here. Have a seat, wherever you like. This is what this is all about. And you all face me. Sit wherever you like, but face me. Oh yeah, I like this. I like this much better.
You can go crisscross applesauce if you want, whatever you feel comfortable doing.
All right, guys. Hi there. Okay. And if you have the book, you can follow along. Leo's Lunchbox. And right at the beginning is the text that informs the writing of this book. Comes from the Gospel of John. There's a little boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but that's a drop in the bucket for a crowd like this. A bologna sandwich? Not again. Leo didn't like bologna sandwiches. Yet this was the 4th time this week Mom packed one for his school lunch. Bologna with mustard, bologna with mayo, bologna with cheese, lettuce, and tomato. Sometimes she would even fry it until it bubbled up in the pan. But it was still bologna. For now, it's all we can afford, Mom said. Screen's over there. Can you all see it? All right. As Leo sat there in the school cafeteria, barely nibbling on the sandwich, Pete laughed while leaning over to him. Hey, Leo, what's that you're eating? Another bologna sandwich? Pete was a big kid with a big mouth, and he was always teasing Leo about his lunch. Phil joined in with the teasing. A bologna sandwich. Leave him alone, said Joanna. And what if I don't? Asked Pete. Before she could answer, the bell rang and it was time to go back to class. In class, it was hard for Leo to focus on his schoolwork. He was tired of eating the same old sandwich, tired of being teased by Pete. And because his lunch was so small, he was a little hungry and a little sad. He looked over at his friend, Andy. Andy looked tired too. His family couldn't even afford bologna. He'd had a bread and butter sandwich for lunch. It felt like the school day would never end. Finally, the bell rang and Leo, his tummy rumbling, got on the big yellow school bus and went home. How was school today, Mom asked over dinner. It was okay, Leo said. He didn't really want to talk about it, so he shoveled down his fried bologna and went straight to his room. He said his prayers and went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, there was a shiny box sitting in the kitchen. Good morning, Mom said. Guess what? Last night after you went to sleep, I found out I got a new job. So I ran to the secondhand store and I bought you this lunchbox. When I walked into the store, it looked like it glowed. Anyway, I think you'll like your lunch. but promise me you won't open it until lunchtime at school. Could that mean that Leo was going to get a baloney? Could that mean that Leo wasn't going to get a baloney sandwich? Did Mom buy something special when she went out last night? When lunchtime came, Leo rushed to open his lunchbox. He couldn't wait to see what Mom had packed. No baloney sandwich. In fact, inside were 2 slices of pizza. And they were still warm. As Leo was about to eat his pizza, he noticed his friend Andy had no lunch at all that day, not even a bread and butter sandwich. Leo really wanted both slices, but decided to give one to Andy and keep the other for himself. When he finished eating his 1 slice of pizza, he looked into his lunchbox and saw an orange, his favorite fruit. That's when Manuel looked over. Manuel was new to Leo's school. Sometimes he spoke in Spanish and struggled with English. But he was great in math and had helped Leo understand fractions and multiplication. Raise your hand if you love fractions and multiplication. Leo reached for the orange, thinking he might share it with Manuel, and to his amazement, next to the orange was a 3rd slice of pizza. Wow! I guess I didn't see it before, he thought. Leo took the dull plastic knife Mom had placed in his lunchbox and began to cut the pizza in half. I'm sorry, I skipped. I knew I missed something. Hey, Manuel, there we are. Hey, Manuel, 1/2 of the slice of pizza? Leo asked with a twinkle in his eye. Sure, thanks, buddy. Leo took the dull plastic knife Mom had placed in the lunchbox and began to cut the pizza in half. But as he cut it in half, each slice doubled in size. 1 slice was now the size of 2, too much for 1 kid to eat. So he cut each slice again. 1 became 2, and 2 became 4. He kept cutting, and the pizza kept growing. 4 became 8, 8 became 16. Wow, this is amazing, said Manuel. Other kids began to gather. So Leo began passing the pizza around. It seemed the more he gave, the more he had. So he kept reaching into that shiny lunchbox, not really to see what he could get, but to see what he could give. Giving to others felt really good. He reached for the orange that he had almost forgotten about because of all the excitement and handed it to Joanna. He loved oranges, but she loved them too. Besides, he remembered that Joanna had stood up for him when Pete and Phil had teased him yesterday. Hey, Joanna, take this orange. Thanks, she said, but you keep it. You love oranges. It's okay, he said. It's a thank you for standing up for me. I'll tell you what, she said. Let's split it. Leo reached back into that magical lunchbox and handed her a plastic knife, and as she cut the orange in half, each slice doubled. 1 slice was now 2, 2 became 4. She kept cutting, and the orange slices kept coming. 4 became 8, 8 became 16. So she started sharing them around just like Leo had with the pizza, and it turned into a party. Kids were eating, singing, dancing, sharing. Maria had chips. Nate had dip. And others did too. So they poured all the chips into one big bowl and all the dip into another. Chips and dip for everyone. With all that pizza and dip and all those oranges and chips, Leo was thirsty. So he reached into the magical lunchbox and pulled out the magical blue thermos. He poured himself some juice. Hey, but there was more. So he poured himself another cup, and still there was more. So he poured Joanna a cup, and still there was more. So he poured Maria and Nate a cup, and still there was more. The more he poured, the more he had. The more he gave, the more he received. Juice and chips and dip, pizza and oranges, singing, dancing, sharing. There was such commotion and so much excitement that Pete couldn't take it anymore. He slowly came over and Phil followed him. And with his hand shaking, he asked Leo, "May I?" "No way," said Joanna, guarding the oranges. "It's okay," Leo said to her. "We have more than enough for everyone." Then he turned to Pete and Phil. "Go ahead," he said. And sharing still felt good. Actually, somehow it felt even better. "Hey," Andy said, sipping a cup of juice. "Thanks for sharing your lunch with me. It's the first time I've been full at school all year." Leo smiled. "Me too," he said. "Do you think your lunchbox will keep giving us all pizza?" Leo shrugged. "I don't know," he said, "but maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe it taught us all we needed to learn." And Leo was right. After that day, no one at his school ever went to class hungry again. Hey, that must be your brother. I've seen this before. You behaving just like my children. Come here, buddy. What's your name?
Trey.
Come, Trey. Sit right here. All right. What's your name? Huh? Oh, now you're quiet. You're just like my daughter. It's fine, Mommy. I wouldn't know what to do if they weren't children.
So we have some questions from the kids here, and a couple from the adults.
Come here, Trey.
Trey's
going to answer the first question.
Okay. Trey, what's your favorite animal?
A lion.
A lion. That's my favorite animal, too.
Love it.
It is, because I'm a Leo. I wonder why the character's name is Leo. See, you stumbled into something.
How does a senator help kids? This is from a kid.
Oh, that's a great question. So, a senator is one member of Congress. You heard of those people? Probably not nice things, right? But the Congress is a great thing. So being a senator means I literally get to help people all day. So my job is to make sure that children have good schools and that they have good roads to get to those schools. My job is to make sure that every kid has a chance. And so one of the things I'm working on right now is called the Child Tax Credit, which gives a tax cut to your mothers and your fathers, mamas and daddies who are raising children. And when we did it back in 2021, it cut child poverty almost in half. You probably didn't notice because we only did it for 6 months. And what I'm trying to do right now is pass a law that will keep that tax credit going so that mommies will have more money to buy book bags, coats, tutoring for their kids, and some other things to eat besides bologna sandwiches.
Yes. One of the kids, 2 more kid questions. How hard is it to be a senator?
I enjoy my job a lot, I really do, but it is pretty hard because there are 100 senators, 100 of us, How many senators come from each state? Anybody know? What? 2 from each state. And in order for us to get something done, a lot of us have to agree. And that's really hard. But every now and then we get something good done.
So, 2 questions from the adults. How did you find the time to write a children's book?
I love to write, and one of the hard parts of this job is I live my life on roller skates, and but I love to write, and it was a muscle I started exercising when I did my first children's book. I don't know. I spend time on the plane, coming back, going back and forth. And I just make time. I think you make time for the things that you think are important. And these are lessons that I'm trying to teach my children anyway.
Yes. Excellent. I understand about running in the airports and all
Yeah.
the planes. I get you.
You never know when the inspiration comes.
That's exactly right. And kids, any aspiring writers.
And I write sermons every week.
Yes.
So, there.
Keep notebooks. Keep little notebooks. That's when inspiration strikes.
Right.
Yeah. What 3 pieces of advice you'd give to young people today, sir?
3 pieces of advice to young people?
Yes.
I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you 1 piece of advice, and maybe we'll see if there are 2 others. But my advice to young people, kids, if there are young adults out there in the audience, find that thing that you would do for free, except that you got to pay the mortgage. But if you love it enough that you would do it for free and pursue it with all your might. Howard Thurman put it this way. He said, "Ask not what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go and do that, because what the world needs is people who've come alive." And there's nothing like, a young person who has that fire in their eyes about whatever it is that excites you. And if right now it's, do you like to draw? Do you like math? Whatever it is you like, and of course you got to work on things you don't necessarily like too. Let me be clear about that. But really work on it and pursue it. Yes. Words captured my imagination as a kid. I was, a really nerdy thing. I used to read the thesaurus. Because there's nothing like being in a conversation and dropping some word and some say, "What did he just say?" But no, I loved listening to preachers who painted pictures and told good stories. And as it turns out, I think that's managed to do some good in the world, because right now we're in a dark place in our country, and somebody's got to try to paint us a picture of where we can go together. And so I'm trying to do that every day. So find that thing, young people, that you enjoy doing and really work at it.
I think that's a perfect answer to end on. Thank you very much, Senator. There's you'll be signing books.
I don't know.
Is there?
Am I signing books? What am I doing?
Is there book signings, Joe? Okay. Please give a round of applause to Joe Davidge for Georgia Center of the Books. Help put this together.
Alrighty, so thank you all so much for being so attentive. So let's have you run back to your seats real quick so we can get everything
kids.
set up here. Thank you all
Y'all give the
so
kids
much.
a round of applause.
So Couple of things real quick. We are going to pull the signing table around and things like that. You've probably heard the sound of "we are well past nap time." So why don't we do this? Because those of us who are a little more mature and are used to not having nap times, let's let the weans go first and kind of like get them going, get them out of the way. Everybody else just sit tight, talk, meet a book friend, chat. It's nice and cool in here. But let's go ahead and bring the kids up to get their things signed real quick, and then I'll start just like pulling you up row by row and things like that. Once again, another big round of applause for Little Shop of Stories. A big round of applause for Charles Waters, and another big round of applause for our Senator Raphael Warnock.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
That was wonderful.
No, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed